next guest is here. Oh my God. Hey, Jared. Everybody, y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back. Go ahead, Dave. Are you a voting member of the NRA? My name is Lucretia Hughes Klukin. I will never compromise my beliefs in God, family, our country, and my Second Amendment. I am running for the board of directors of the NRA, and I would appreciate your vote. Politicians are very good at playing with words. They always talk about gun control. How about right control? Because when you go against the Second Amendment, that's our right. That's our God-given right, not only by God, but by the founding fathers. So why don't you just call it what it really is, right control? You're taking our rights away. You cannot regulate evil. Evil is evil, and evil is always going to be persistent, and it's always going to be here. So why get rid of our ability to protect ourselves? The Second Amendment right protects the rest of them, and it protects us. It protects your home, your body, and your spirit, because without it, how are you going to protect yourself? Don't be a sheep. Don't follow just because it's popular. Think for yourself. Be yourself. Be that individual that God made you to be. He wasn't born to follow. He was born to lead. You meant to say DARPA. So welcome back to the Real News with Lucretia Hughes. Dave. So do not forget, I'm going to need your help. If you're coming downtown to Atlanta to the NRA convention, I'm going to need your help campaigning on the floor. Dave, I'm giving you enough time to get that video up. Campaign on the floor. And also, do not forget, we will be starting a Give, Send, Go for everything that has happened and transpired. So y'all continue to keep us in y'all prayers. So the next person that's coming up, because Dave ain't ready, Dave, bring Jared on up on in here. Hey, Jared.
How you doing, Lucretia?
I'm doing pretty good. Everybody, this is Jared Craig. He is a lawyer extraordinaire for the Veterans for America First. He just won extraordinary lawyer that is out there inside of the state of Georgia. And you know what? He's one of my mentors. It is what it is. You got to spread that love. Hey, Jared, can you go ahead and tell everybody, give them a little bit about your background while Dave cue up the drama that happened at Marjorie Taylor Greene meeting last night?
Oh, yeah, I saw a good bit of that. But I'm an attorney who came from the grassroots of Georgia. I was raised on a cattle farm. I'm no more Georgia. There's no way you could be more Georgia than I am. And I've traveled the world. I've been all over the place, and I've found that I needed to join an organization after I ran for U.S. Congress because I still wanted to make a difference and get the America First agenda, the movement going forward. And now we've got President Trump in power. We're taking the Make America Great Again slogan and making it into a mandate. We're making America great again. My credentials, I normally don't try to do too much self promotion. But
it'll be okay.
Excuse me, I'm sorry for technical difficulty. But I've been a practicing lawyer since 2009. I've worked for foreign governments. I've done analysis for international transactions. I've handled civil matters all over the place. And what I do with Veterans for America First as an advocate, I assist in counseling candidates as to how to get their messaging together on some of the America First issues as it pertains to their district, so they can speak intelligently and consistently with the other America First candidates, but in a way that best suits their voters, because they know their voters better than anybody else. And so many candidates lose their race because they rely on outside consultants instead of relying on their own gut instincts.
Yeah, but when it comes to you and doing that, you actually screen these people. You vet these people before you endorse these people with VFAF. You give them pointers of how to, what to do out there as a candidate running for office. But not only that, you did a lot of documentaries too. You went to the border. You are helping veterans causes. You helped draft a piece of legislation to try to get our first responders and our veterans and our police officers protected. You do more than just a lawyer extraordinaire. You do advocate all over the United States. And then you have been to Mar-a-Lago many, at least five
Yeah.
times.
I've probably been 5 times in the last year and a half. But work is work, no matter where you're going, what you're doing. It's about finding the like-minded people, the like-minded people who are not only saying what they want to do, but have shown that they are capable of knowing what or how to do what they say they want to do. And you're right, legislation. We want to fight back against the leftists. What you mentioned, the safeguard bill, or the what's now known as the Halo bill in Georgia, providing safety factors for first responders while they're conducting their official duties. That's a direct, or I'll say, fight back against the Soros defund the police, because we're hoping that once we get this bill passed in Georgia, we can take this bill and run across the entire United States. And where we can't get it passed at the state level, we can go to the local county level. And we want to provide safety for first responders because it will provide better services and also better qualified people. Because once you provide safety, you're going to entice or bring in a higher quality of employees, and they will take the training better. And in effect, there'll be a better community for that. But I'm also working on some national legislation that it's concerning the immigration issue.
Okay.
Now, you're right. I did go to the border in 2023, and we took a bunch of candidates down to give them a firsthand feel of what's happening in Eagle Pass, Texas.
Yes.
And as we know now, what was an open spigot, an open door, a no wall, no border policy, that is quite different. So we have more to do within our boundaries than focusing at the wall as a boundary itself. And we're seeing the federal land that's being, I'll say, controlled more rigidly within the inside of the American border, along the border. I believe Department of the Interior and they have taken that as federal land to protect it and station actual military vehicles. But I'm working on a bill to identify the illegal immigrants who are hiding in the shadows, who are eating up resources, who are clogging our schools, impacting our safety, and even our hospitals and things along those lines. We're clogged with too many people who aren't supposed to be there. So identifying them, locating them, and then processing them however is necessary. That's a little pet project I've been working on now. In addition to
no, how in the world are they getting Social Security? How in the world are they getting free houses, free this and that? They don't have IDs. They don't have the real ID. None of this stuff. How in the world, within the last 4 years, did all these people, and I say it's 21 million, probably more, got in here with an Obama phone, got all of these benefits, while every ordinary day people was struggling, but they saved 16 cents on the dollar?
The easy answer to that question is we have laws that have been ignored. We had a prior administration that picked and chose which laws that they wanted to follow and which laws they wanted to ignore. And with nobody at the wheel, or you have Autopin at the wheel, or some whoever's pulling on Biden's puppet strings
Obama
is the one dictating policy, Obama. That's how we have what we have. The other answer to that question, another layer deeper, is that anything that the federal government that they determined was too risky for them to do themselves, they funded non-governmental organizations,
Yes.
NGOs, to do illegal activity. They weren't given these phones. They weren't given this access in the United States once they got here. They were given those phones. They were given that access way down in wherever they were coming from. They were the cartel set up a travel agency,
Yes.
and they facilitated that with an open border patrol who had their hands tied. It's disgusting. They should never have done it, and everything that the prior administration did is completely illegal.
Think about what just happened today. You got two Democratic senators or one is a congressman, the other one is either or. One of them is down there right
Right.
now and was talking to the vice president of El Salvador. He got denied. Why would you want to bring a thug and a criminal back into the United States? And the next one was Booker T. Washington. Booker went down there and made it his business that I'm gonna go and get that person from El Salvador, and you can't stop me. Well, you are messing with a whole nother country. I don't think you have that authority to go in there to that prison and get him released. What do you think about all that? And then I'm going to ask you about the auto pen, because that should be illegal.
Oh yeah, that's a quite a different issue, but it's touching real close to this issue. All right, so the congressman and senator from Maryland, Cory Booker, and I forget the other guy's name. He was just on the radio. It's about grandstanding. It's about grasping at straws because the Democratic Party has no substantive position on anything whatsoever. They know that their voting base isn't really going to follow much more than them pounding their chest and screaming at foreign nationals. Now, when he gets to El Salvador, or when they got to El Salvador, they need to be reminded that they are guests in a foreign sovereign nation. And if they think that they're going to tell a foreign country how they're going to operate within their confines, within their laws, while on their soil, he better be lucky he gets his chance to come home. And I think it was a fool's errand to even go down there for that reason. But I think it's going to fall flat because everybody knows that they're full of crap.
Yep.
And that's the G-rated version of that.
Well, it came out
But
today,
it's
the
just,
guy that they're trying to go down there and save or bring back, he's a woman beater. That, and on top of that. So you got the woman beater situation. He's an illegal, period, point blank. But if he's already came into our United States, broke many laws, didn't go back to court, and now he's being deported, he's where he's supposed to be. Our Constitution of the United States says our Congress people should be supporting, defending us at the border, all borders, from foreign and domestic. And it seemed like in the last 5 years, in the last 4 years, they cared more about illegals from all over the world, terrorists alike, and fentanyl drugs. It didn't seem like we had law and order in the side of the United States.
We didn't. And we're grasping to get it back as fast as possible. And what we're seeing is the writhing absurdities from the petulant left. And they are just so sad that daddy's come home and he's whipped out his belt and he's about to whip some tail. And that's who we have in the presidency right now. We have a president who is going to respect our laws, hold people accountable, and anybody's feelings that get in the way, to hell with them. The issue with El Salvador is they had warrants for them in El Salvador as well. If they weren't criminals when they were returned to El Salvador, the El Salvadorian country or government would have just let them free in the streets. But there's some reason why they're locked up in the jail there is because they were criminals there before they got here. And the media wants to say, I'll say the legacy media wants to say, this man's from Maryland and he was wrongfully detained and wrongfully deported. I'm sorry, the man was never supposed to be here. Being here is a crime. That is an illegal act. And he committed crimes while he was here and tried to escape justice as a fugitive. He was detailed several times by two judges as a member of the MS-13 gang, and that's never been disputed, never been changed, and therefore he's a terrorist by current definition. It's fully within our sovereign powers to remove foreign terrorists from our country and our citizenry. Well, he's not a citizen, and if the media keeps wanting to portray this as an innocent victim, they are falling on they're going to die on the wrong hill. They're going to end up looking really, really bad.
All right, we're going to talk about Bossberg, because Bossberg, I hope I'm saying this judge's name right. What is wrong with him? What is wrong with Bossberg when you want a plane to turn around in midair to bring back criminals, rapists, and murderers? Now, what happened today and what came out today is he's going to try to hold the Trump administration or President Trump in contempt for going against his will of telling Trump not to send these people outside of the country. If you having a law degree, how is that? How is that?
Well, I'll tell you that most of the district court judges forget that their jurisdiction is limited to their district. And what we've gotten is the left that goes around in judge shops, forum shops, to find the most liberal judge that they can possibly get who will file an injunction, a preliminary injunction. Now, here's one thing that's not making the news is that none of these district court judges are issuing legal injunctions. Preliminary injunctions by federal law require a bond in case whatever they enjoin is wrongfully enjoined. Not one of these plaintiffs who have sought a preliminary injunction against the Trump administration has ever been required to put up a bond. Now, that's a technical requirement. Now, you ask, what's wrong with him? What's wrong with him is he's gotten a robe and he's gotten a robe-itis, and thinking that that robe empowers him with the equal power of checking the executive branch in its entirety. He forgets that district courts were created by the legislation. The legislative branch created them. And we saw the House recently pass a bill that clarified the previous case from Mississippi that illustrates or concludes that no district court has the power to check the executive office when they're operating within their own branch. When they're doing their official duties, war powers, immigration, and naturalization, however you want to style this, anytime we have international interactions, that's completely within the purview of the executive branch. The executive branch is in one man's hand, or one woman's hand if she were elected. But the executive branch, their equal is 9 judges collectively, or all members of Congress. At any point, that if you want to check the chief executive officer, you must have an equal in the other branch to do so. So we're seeing legislation come through the House passing the restriction of district court judges. We're seeing Supreme Court judges ruling in favor of presidential authority. And in the meantime, we've got judges like Bossberg, California judges, Maryland judges, New York judges who are just grasping at straws, trying to remain relevant. And they're about to, as I call it, they're about to get neutered because they don't have the power that they seem to try to exert. Now, President Trump's the first one to just thumb his nose at him and say, yeah, deal with it. We don't care what your orders are. Find me in contempt. You can't hold the president of the United States in contempt at a district court level for any reason whatsoever. It's just BS. And by the way, they're forgetting that Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, would be who that would go towards, because the actual authority to deport someone falls under the State Department.
So why are they hating on Trump? Is it because he is not abiding by whatever these leftist judges are putting out there, and he's thumbing his nose?
I think it's really they just love to hate him. They can't get his name out of their mouth. Everything is his fault, no matter what he does. If he cures cancer, solves whatever problem we have, it doesn't matter because they're going to hate him for it blindly. And it's just, I'll say, a symptom of Trump derangement syndrome.
Lucretia James, what do you think of her?
Yeah. I think she should be happy to keep her bar degree, or she won't be able to get elected as a dog catcher in the near future. I think that she has filed a lot of frivolous things. She has broken her oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States and that of the state of New York. She is the weaponization of the judicial branch, and she alone has doubled down and pretty much painted herself in the corner. I don't see this ending well for her, and I think that she's going to get hit with some wrongful prosecution civil suits, because Trump hasn't met a lawyer he's never hired. So if you mess with Trump in New York, don't think that he isn't in tune with the New York lawyers who are willing to go and fight Lucretia James. It was a nonsense case to begin with. It was novel. It had never been tried before, and she mischaracterized tons of things, and she ran on it. So her entire prosecution of Donald Trump was tainted with political intention and not for the purpose of conviction. I'm having to watch my mouth, but it's a clown show.
It's a shit show. It's a shit show.
Yeah, it's a shit show. Okay, good. All right, I didn't want to get censored. But yeah, it's a complete shit show. And it always stinks at the shit show. Um,
But she married her
but
daddy. I know you heard about her inflating her stuff, putting on a loan, and as she is the spouse of her own father. And then it came out earlier this week. She
oh
got
yeah.
two houses, one in Virginia and one in New York. But she calling the one in Virginia her primary place of residency. So how can you be the attorney general for the state of New York State, and you don't live there at all?
Yeah, well, that is the problem with I'll say politics in New York is that it is quite a different world there. And projection normally comes from the wrongdoer, and that being you accuse your opponents of the misconduct that you're doing. And I think it's hilarious. We saw that also in the case Jack Smith filed in Florida against
Yep.
Trump concerning the presidential papers. And it was hilarious that he himself mishandled the documents. And now we have Letitia James herself in acts of fraud concerning real estate and valuations and
And
fraudulent mortgage applications. They're just
and
accusing him of what he's doing or
you're
what they're
forgetting
doing.
our
I'm sorry.
state. You're forgetting our state. Come on now, you forgot a name.
Oh yeah, Fannie Willis. Fannie Willis showing her ass, and she totally ruined her entire future. Going, I think she's gonna run back to Compton and hide in the West Coast. Maybe she can
Wait,
go
wait, wait. Did you
and
say she's gonna run back to Compton? She's not from Georgia?
no, no, no. She was planted here just a few years ago, back when she didn't have any money, and she comes here and ends up with multiple millions of dollars. During the Trump prosecution, she admitted to several crimes: FEC
Mm-hmm.
violations, state election mishandling of money. Because I don't know if you followed all of the divorce proceedings for
Mm-hmm.
her. I'll say what's the name? Nathan
Nathan
Wade.
Wade.
Nathan White, yeah, that guy. She admitted to having cash left over from her campaign at her house in her safe that she used for personal reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Come on,
You can't do that. You cannot do that
you
at all.
can't do that. And the way she prosecuted Donald Trump, she did not honor his due process rights, the gag orders that were put in place, and also the inappropriate funding that came from the White House and directives from the DOJ. It's clear that they were operating solely for political reasons and at the direction of the White House, not under the direction of Fannie Willis for the notions of justice. And with prosecutors all over this country, they forget that their oath is not to get a high batting average or conviction rate, as they would call it. It's to uphold justice
Right.
and to defend the Constitution of the state of Georgia or whatever state they're in and the United States. And by doing or by filing actions and prosecuting for inappropriate purposes, they have violated their oath, and that's a 5-year felony. That's disgusting, and we want public servants who take the oath to honor their oath. And look what we get when we have George Soros plants
Thank you.
funded to disrupt the
Yep.
law and order of our nation at the very lowest level, the trial.
I was gonna say George Soros. George Soros backed up DA. It's like all of them. They came from no money, and now they are worth millions. How? How? You have to explain me how that we gonna play those tricks?
Well, I'll tell you how some of them get their money, right? You have
Okay.
some of them that have insider trading information in the legislature. But the dirty side, the most dirtiest side, is when someone is a public servant and they're given a budget. And they have let's just use, for example, the VA out of Athens, just as
Yes.
an example. And the VA department out of Athens has funding for certain services for the veterans. And one of them's, benefit counseling and how do you fill out documents. And then others are, physician related care assistance. Well, instead of paying it out of your budget, you have all these NGOs
Yes.
who are getting money through grants through side doors that were then providing those services. So you have these services that are being provided from NGOs, and they're being double funded, one through the NGO and one directly under the department's budget. And that department budget gets swindled off and and it gets laundered off into various things from, hiring your brother's landscaping company or, all this type of
You
insider
sounding like
in.
Stacey Abrams. Are you talking about Stacey Abrams and that $2 billion that they just received this year?
Well, I hate to even talk about Stacey Abrams because I'm sure she spends about $2 billion a year on hot dogs. It's not going to her orthodontist, and
Oh,
it's not going to anywhere legitimate.
be
But
careful. Her sister is a federal judge now. Her sister is a federal judge appointed by Barack Obama.
for now, um, but Stacey Abrams is one of those NGO, I'll say, pilferers,
Hmm.
and she's been claiming to provide, what was it, energy efficient appliances to people in rural Georgia, and I don't.
111 homes that she gave some stoves to. And yeah, but where's the other billions?
Right. And you have no idea where it went. I bet it had a lot to do with ballot stuffing and paying
Woo!
ballot runners and
Woo!
paying rent on buildings through shell corporations so you can have a plausible deniability when we start putting addresses, GPS, and her minions in locations that would lead the connection to possibly a RICO charge.
It is
That's
a
just
RICO
mine.
charge. What did she say at South by Southwest at that conference? Y'all come on. We just need you to come to Georgia. Just come on to Georgia. We can change Georgia blue. Yeah, we fool. We don't want you here. I mean, y'all might could go to Fulton County. Y'all fit in over there. Speaking of Fulton County, if she trying to clean up Trump, she can't even clean up her own county. And I'm talking about Fannie Mae Willis. That's about one of the worst counties and jails in Georgia. She got more
Yeah,
problems of her own.
Yeah, I hate Fulton County. It is a mess from their clerk's office being efficient or inefficient and no one coming to work and everybody's too good to do anything. And the judges are slow rolling. Not all the judges, but the DA's office has been rotten for years. The judicial system, the jails, it is a mess. Unless I have to go to Fulton County, I don't go.
Wow. Well, I'm going to ask you this question because you kind of hit on it, but you didn't. The auto pen. What do you think about that with Joe Biden?
All right, this comes back to a little bit of a boring thing about Article 1 of the Constitution. It says the executive branch rests in the hands of the president. And now I'm paraphrasing quite a bit. But in the hands of the president means that he has to have the authority himself to act. Now, we have a history of presidents giving the authority for a signature, and we had FDR,
Yes.
where his wife was secretly running the country, and he would direct or possibly direct from the bed. But in this case with Joe Biden, we had a Joe Biden who was deemed incompetent to stand trial when it came down to the confidential documents that he was found to have in his garage. And if he's incompetent to stand trial, then how can he have the right to sign his name?
Exactly.
I deal with legal stuff all the time. If someone doesn't have the mental capacity to stand trial, well, then their signature is useless. Now, the auto pen puts another layer in because it infers that he was not capable of signing his name. They have the burden of illustrating why they used auto pen. No one's asking that. It's if he's using auto pen or if it was. Now, if he doesn't have the capacity to stand trial, then how does he have the capacity to alter this country's policies, to alter this country's laws,
Yep.
and to do anything within the executive power? Now, the auto pen is, if documents were signed by auto pen, there's normally a request for purpose. Why was auto pen used? Okay, they were unavailable and something had an exigent circumstance. But all the pardons and so many of the executive orders and so many of the things that were supposedly signed, I think are subject to being unwound. And if you think Pam Bondi has her hands full looking to arrest people right now, wait till we can unwind all of these pardons and we can get the Biden family all behind bars. That'll be quite a day.
Okay.
I'm going to hold my breath, but that's my opinion about the auto pen. Is there are circumstances where it can be deemed legitimate, but in this case, the facts are weighing against them.
Okay, we have 2 minutes left for the top of the hour. We take a hard break. Go ahead and close us out, Jerry, because I mean, I can talk you up. I can make that head as big as necessary with my flowery words, but I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna be a lady, gentlemen. No, go ahead, Jared. You can close us out. Let everybody know if they ever need your help, that you picks up the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning. You don't mind if you got food in your mouth, you will start talking on the phone.
Well, not at 4 o'clock in the morning most days, but what I want to tell the people is that we have a wonderful opportunity to actually fix what's been broken. And the beautiful thing is the simplicity of what needs to be done gets rid of all the details. And we've heard the devil, lives in the details. And if we can simplify laws, get back to the single bill, I'll say policy, we can fix a lot of the nonsense, because the laws that are 900 pages versus single bill issues, there's nowhere to hide in single bill issues. And if we keep promoting America First candidates at all levels, from county commissioners all the way up to the President of the United States, we have a better hope to save our nation. And we will be acting with the legitimacy, the common sense, and the simplicity that our founding fathers anticipated. And I'm here to help anyone that needs that help. And I'm here fighting in the trenches every day. And because I can see the light. I can see the light now for the first time in several years. And we need to fight together and save this country.
Well, you're doing a kick-ass job from the border to helping people inside the state of Georgia, to help and write pieces of legislation all over the nation, and making sure that you are vetting and teaching people how to win on the American First agenda. So everybody, this is Jared Craig. Y'all, he is part of the VFAF, Veterans for America First. And if you need any law advice, call between 9 and 5. What's his office hours? 9 and 5. All right, Jared. Thank you so much, Dave. We'll be right back. Y'all stay tuned. Go ahead.
Are you a voting member of the NRA? My name is Lucretia Hughes. I will never compromise my beliefs in God, family, our country, and my Second Amendment. I am running for the board of directors of the NRA, and I would appreciate your vote. Politicians are very good at playing with words. They always talk about gun control. How about right control? Because when you go against the Second Amendment, that's our right. That's our God-given right, not only by God, but by the founding fathers. So why don't you just call it what it really is, right control? You're taking our rights away. You cannot regulate evil. Evil is evil, and evil is always going to be persistent, and it's always going to be here. So why get rid of our ability to protect ourselves? The Second Amendment right protects the rest of them, and it protects us. It protects your home, your body, and your spirit, because without it, how are you going to protect yourself? Don't be a sheep. Don't follow just because it's popular. Think for yourself. Be yourself. Be that individual that God made you to be. You wasn't born to follow. You was born to lead.
Hi, B-Dub. Welcome back, everybody, to The Real News with Lucretia Hughes and Dave. You can't be saying some stuff like that, B-Dub. Send us an article or something. This is what B-Dub said. Now that Barack Hussein Obama has admitted that he is not born in the United States, can most of what he ordered and bills he signed become null and void? Yes. Yes. Down with Obamacare. Down with Obamacare. Down with Obamacare. Down with Obamas. Down with Obamas. And whatever, Big Mike is over there doing, she's like, I am